G'day everyone, Alex McKellar here with another Top Split Racing replay. Look, it's been a while. I think it's been a full season. But we're back here at Watkins Glen, round 7 of the season. Season 1, 2023. Been pretty amazing racing here at different times. Pretty controversial at times. A few emotions coming to the surface at different times over different topics in the wake of Daytona and what have you as well. Sort of bubbled over, flowed over into this series, but I thought I'd highlight this race because it's actually a really good one. You can see the names sort of in the front half of the field there. Ant Jones, Team Torpedo, dropped it on pole. He's got great pace here, as he does at most places. Head Clown, Vasco joined him on the front row, but look at that. The rest of us are at least 4/10 behind Ant, who put on a stellar lap. Myself there on the second row next to Captain 499. And Dennis Johansson, the Doggo Mobile. Fair to say this was a 1.9k soft, and after that it drops off a bit, and that's kind of where you would expect to see the action in that front five, which, to be fair, is, well, you'll see what happens when we get going. Speaking of getting going, let's crack on without any further ado. We're away. It is 15 laps here at Watkins Glen. Fair bit of strategy here, in difference to Phillip Island last week, where there was a lot of strategy as well, but a different kind of strategy here. Both the draft tracks. Obviously, this one has some intensity. Well, they both have a lot of intensity, really, but just a different way it's expressed. It's all sort of down here at the bus stop here at Watkins. And in the first lap, you can see we're all just, getting ourselves sorted. I think there was a pretty big accident at turn 1 behind us, and you can see already we're out to almost a 3.5 second lead from P6. I'll be honest with you, I saw it in my mirrors. But realistically, I was very much focused on the 4 drivers around me, all of whom have got pace. There's plenty of racecraft here, plenty of smarts. And we've seen a lot of hard racing here this week. Not all of it's come off well, so wasn't sure quite what to expect. And when you look at a 1.9k soft, and you look at the top 5 averaging 6.5k between us in terms of I rating, there's a fair bit of risk, to be honest, because if you don't finish, well, even if you finish on your number, in some cases you lose I rating. So, and that's not necessarily what it's all about, I know, but we all play for a bit of I rating, we all look at it from time to time, but anyway, that's the way it goes. I just noticed that the race session's showing time instead of laps, so interesting. Well, I'll let you know. We've just finished lap 1. Oh, there we go on lap 2. There we go. It's kicked into gear now, thankfully. All right. I don't have to worry about that anymore. All right, so we sort of held station. Dennis behind made a move on Neil on the first lap up the back straight here. And we're just approaching through the S's now at the start of lap 2. And again, showing the nose on the inside of me. I tend to like to hug the right-hand side of this straight. I think it's a lot safer going into the bus stop chicane. I got a bit confused with Vasco there. I thought he was going to leave the inside open, then he stayed right, which is fine. Here a little bit tire squeeze. I checked up there, and Ant Jones, who started on pole, is now back to 4th. Although at this stage of the race, in all honesty, the only thing you're really looking to try and avoid is the lead pack that you're racing in. Obviously you want to stay in that. You're really trying to avoid getting dropped, because if I tell you now, while everyone's playing nice for the most part in this, they're all thinking the same thing. If there's a splinter in the group, whether it be the top 2, top 3, top 4, whatever it is, if you're off the back, the other ones will immediately switch into a couple of laps of work together to thin the herd, so to speak. Because it's much easier to battle in sort of 2 or 3 for the win than it is for you to have that same battle with 5 cars in it. So everyone in this pack knows that. We're all experienced, smart drivers. And we're all very tentatively in the early rounds of the fight. Just little feint, little jab, you know, throw the fakies in there and see what we can do to unsettle the folks around. I got caught out a little bit by Dennis there. He seemed to, I don't know if he was braking there, he was lifting earlier than I was. There was one time, I don't know if it was that lap or another, where I thought I was going to full on ram in the rear. And then I watched his stream back of this race, because of course Dennis streams all these races, Race Driver 77 on Twitch. And he said the same thing about us. It's interesting how different folks approach the same corner. And here briefly I shifted into 5th. Normally I just stick in 4th even if I'm in a draft pack like that. As the gap opens up, both leave something through the middle and I get enough momentum to go through on Vasco, leave a bit of room on the inside in case Dennis was there. Caused me to miss the apex and shoot a bit deep, so I was a bit sketchy on the exit. But again, smart drivers around, we make allowances, so I left that little bit of room on the inside and I wasn't sure if Dennis was going to come through, and he left time and space for me on the exit, but then immediately took advantage and came through on my poor run out of the exit of the bus stop. So a lot of positional changes here, particularly in the front 3. I know Ant's dropped back to 4th and Neil to 5th. Dennis has come from 5th through to 1st. Most of the movement though, or the switching of positions, has been in the front 3, and that comes back to my theory of, you know, sometimes you've got to attack to defend, you know. And if in a pack like this, similar to it was at Phillip Island last week, if you're kind of not attacking, you're going to get swallowed from behind. So attack is sometimes, as they say, the best form of defense. Certainly I know that's how Dennis races. He's always on the attack. People get nervous about leading the last lap and getting swamped and all the rest of it. Dennis doesn't mind those sorts of things. He just gets into races and he wants to be at the front. And I kind of share that opinion in some cases, because my view is, if you're in front, the people behind you have still got to pass you at some point, right? They've still got to make the move. Whereas you've already made the move and you're defending as such. So, you know, there might be some exceptions to that, and this track is borderline exception, but I still think I'd rather be in front than having to, you know, get past even one car, let alone 3 or 4 like you might have to do here. I swing out, leave the gap on the inside, and now I've got Dennis just on my inside still. He relents and I take a more natural line. Still a bit sketchy through there. The rear, it's very bumpy on that first right hand apex through the bus stop, and the closer you get to the wall on the inside of that apex, the smoother it is, surprisingly. So it's a bit of a crapshoot through there. You got to try and get real close to that wall, but if you get too close, of course, it's not good either. Down through the chute now into the toe. Love this section of the track. I think the boot is a really, like, this whole second half of the track in the boot configuration of Watkins has a lovely flow to it, I think. And it's got the elevation change that you see in US tracks. It's got these wonderful corners, like I take this in 3rd unless I make a whoopsie. They've widened out the exits in some places too, which just helps you to maintain speed and fluency, and helps you to push a bit more too, because you know there are less consequences if you make a small mistake. So on lap 4 on the tail end, we're leading at the moment. There's still 4 of the best behind us, all looking to make their move. You'll note Ant Jones has moved back to 5th. He was very relaxed. one of the criticisms of the racing here sometimes is that it all happens on the last lap, and until then you don't have to do much, and that can be true in some cases, and it is to this point in the race as we start lap 5. But again, there's that overarching sort of threat, or overarching, I should say, threat, underlying threat. It's a threat, one of those types, is that the group does get splintered, and you can see Ant's out the back. He's nearly 9/10, nearly a second off the back of Gardner, and you do run the risk of getting dropped because those gaps will open up a lot as we see Vasco go through. I let him and Dennis go through on that tight inside line. No point in challenging them on lap 5. Lap 11's a different story, but and that sort of goes to my point why Ant is pretty happy to sit back there in 5th, minimising his risk. The only thing he's got to worry about is if that group splinters. But as we saw in qualifying, he's got legit pace. So he was 4/10 quicker than anyone who set a good second lap. Or set a second lap, because I know Dennis didn't. So he had that confidence to be able to sort of bridge that gap. But the thing is, like I said, the front pack will switch very quickly from feeling each other out to dedicating themselves to pulling away from anyone who gets dropped. So there is a different kind of risk in it than there is to sort of switching positions and dicing around a little bit. Because a lot of this, like I said, is light sparring, ready for the fight ahead to close out the laps. You're trying to test out folks, put them off their lines, see where they're strong and weak and all the rest of it. So, you know, I noted that Dennis, through this section, you'll watch, it might happen again this lap, I closed very much on him through the final corner in the early stages of the race. You'll see the gap, although I think I'd learnt by then. You see the gap was uniformly consistent through there. I lifted very early though, because I'd nearly run up the rear of his car in the early stages into the 7s now. Let's go with a 7.2. One of the points of this race that I did want to showcase is, despite what you see with a lot of races here this week, it doesn't necessarily have to be smash 'em bash 'em stuff through the bus stop each lap sort of thing. You race smart, you still got a pack of 5 really quick guys coming through lap on lap, just getting it sorted, acknowledging where they are in the pecking order for that time through, and minimising the risk to make sure you're there in the final rounds of the fight. And then by all means, you start accepting a little bit more risk because you want to win. And sometimes you got to add that little element of risk, or accept it, to get the rewards. And let me tell you, those final couple of laps are risk and reward when you get it right. I had a great race earlier in the week. I think it was about a 3200 soft, and yeah, same sort of deal as this race, with the battle coming right down to the end. Even the run to the finish line out of the final corner, a lot of fun. And it can be that in the right company with the right mindset. And I can tell you, there's 5 different drivers in this front pack with different mindsets. Dennis is attack all the time. You can see Ant, who had the pace, I think won that pace on everyone in here, sitting in 5th, just plodding around waiting to move forward when the time is right. You had myself, who I'm constantly thinking risk versus reward, minimize risk, maximize reward, be consistent, focus on the things that make you go fast. See, I've moved to the right here just because Neil had a bit of a run, but he again smartly backs out as we approach the first corner, which sets up, see, I got a nice run out of there. It sets you up for the run up the hill. Now, despite the racing line through here, there's actually a lot of different lines you can take through these S's here, just to manage your speed and your distance when it comes to engaging the draft when you want to make a pass. You can see again, I opened up, didn't hit the apex of the final one, and I moved straight over to the right because I like the inside here. I'm right up side of Neil and I back out. You see a bit of Noah's Ark work there, 2x2 for all of us. And we get through once again with racing respect, racing room. Neil now deciding on lap 7 that it's time to move forward, and now I'm bundled back to P4 in this race because it's a 1900 soft. I was car 1. Anything below second I lose I rating, so I was pretty keen to keep going and move forward where I can. But at this stage I'm still not too worried because there's, you know, the 4 laps to go after this one. So you can see it's all very orderly, and that's, again, this is one of the complaints that some people have about this track, is it all seems very orderly, but you can see there's been a lot of positional changes, a lot of work through the chicane. That last one was evidence. Again, there were 2 rows of 2 going through the chicane, and it can be done, you know, without incident. And Ant, all the while, sitting behind me, Mr. Jones, sitting comfortably waiting for his time to move forward as well. So Neil's already shown his intent. It was time to move forward for him. Asco and Dennis leading the pack, and I'm about half a second behind, starting to close in now with the draft. You see I tend to hold 4th here. Every now and then I flick to 5th accidentally. I used to do it as I crest that final hill, but because I do my gear changes on engine note, as now they go 3 wide. Neil really starting to want to push the point. Asco backs out. I'm keeping Ant at bay by just keeping my car positioned on the right, nothing else. That's a silent statement in that ongoing non-verbal communication, and hears what I was saying and stays out of it. If I'd made a mistake, he would have obviously gone through happily, accepting the position, but for now, happy to sit in 5th. So we're on lap 8, 3 to go when we finish this line now as we exit the chute and the run down into the toe once again. Really looking forward to SNL this week, Sunday Night Lights. For those of you who don't know, go and check out Top Split TV on Twitch at 9:15 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Time, which is GMT plus 11 at the moment. We broadcast live the Top Split in a TV style broadcast, and now for the 4th season in a row, we're averaging a strength of field in the mid to high 5,000s, which in the Skippy series is pretty amazing. We've had 6K soft, 6-200 highest in the category's history this season already. We just missed out on 3 6K softs in a row. So the fields have been big. 5,800 and something last week with a 20 car field, and the racing has been amazing. The standard in this series, when you see all the side by side, look at it. I mean, this is a pack of 5 in a 1.9k soft with 5 drivers of, you know, averaging 6,500 at the front end of the field. Imagine a full field of drivers of this caliber running around for that Sunday Night Lights broadcast. Go check it out, or go check out the other previous videos, the other 30 odd seasons we had, as Neil gets slightly checked up by a lap car and gets swamped. Everyone goes through. Neil relegated back to 5th straight away. Yeah, go check us out on a Sunday night now. Lap 9, things are starting to get interesting. Dennis came, really thought he chopped my nose there, but I really didn't have car position, to be fair. Wasn't far enough up. I was beside him, don't get me wrong, but I needed to be a fraction further up for him to probably not respect my car was there, but yeah, for me not to want to back out. I didn't feel I was quite had the right to go fully side by side through there, and Dennis, like I said, he hit that corner hard. We both come out to fight another day with 2 and a bit laps to go here. Yeah, racing in SNL in the last few seasons, and this one's no exception, has been absolutely outstanding. Just so much fun to be a part of and call the race each week. All these guys are in it, with the exception of yours truly, who does the commentary and the broadcast itself. But you're not missing much by not having me in there, to be honest. You got some really high caliber guys going around. So strategy wise, I'm okay with third. I'm okay with probably first or third of my preference. Second's kind of in between, numerically obviously, but also in terms of strategy, it's a bit in between. Dennis showing the nose, really kind of not threatening, just getting out of the draft a bit, letting us know that we're all still alive in this one. Second to last lap. Sometimes folks don't like to lead the last lap, so it can be about who doesn't want to lead as much as it is about who does want to lead. So you can see I opened up this final one, came back at it to try and maximise the draft. I either want to be on the far right or the far left. I'll go through the middle. I mean that in terms of by the time we get to the corner. I clear Vasco on the left. Open up the wheel. You see that quick open up of the wheel? Dennis sort of missed his braking marker, and I had to sort of adjust a little bit to make sure that there was enough room on the inside. Certainly if I'd gone through the quarter of the way we went through last time with roles reversed, I think there could have been an incident. Oh, no doubt would have been, and the front pack would have been decimated. So those little adjustments that you make in battles like that are the difference between coming through on the other side and ending up in the wall. And a lot of that comes just with experience, keeping your eyes open, being situationally aware of what's going on. Knowing that, for example, Dennis is on a very compromised line on the inside, so he's probably going to push out off the first apex, the first right-hand apex, push out to the left, so that means I've got to give probably more room on that apex than you would otherwise want to. But that's all part of racing. And like I said, that's how a pack like this survives to the end. Alright, so looks like I'll be leading onto the back straight for the final time round. You can see Jones has moved up into P3. He sat there at P5 the whole way and now has started moving forward. Again, Dennis swings out to the far side of the track, not to overtake, maybe to make sure he's visible in my mirrors. But settles back in and sets up the final run at the line. Now through here, I want to be on the right hand side on the exit. So like I said, despite what these corners look like, there are multiple lines here. You can see I'm going to hug the railing until I'm sure that Dennis is on my left to use his run. That means I've got the inside. He was going to try to get in front and force me to think about taking the old grass, but I didn't have to. I'm on the inside. We're 3 wide now. Jones is briefly in the lead. Johansson's there as well. I'm much further up this time, but I thought we were 3 wide, and I had to get out of it there, and I'm now worried I got Gardner on my inside. As we come down the chute, he'll be on the outside. Stross got through there. Ant got unsettled, I think, by a little net code going through the bus stop. That left a bit of room that Johansson thought was there, and it was quickly not as Ant gathered his car up, now taking the defensive line. I open up the corner through the toe, trying to get the run out and maybe come underneath, but Ant got a fantastic run considering the line he had. I didn't open up my exit either because I wanted to defend from Neil behind. A side by side they go in front. Ant keep giving racing room and not much more. Dennis braking very deeply, enough to clear and come across and take most of the apex. Ant defends from me, or is he looking at Dennis? He's probably doing both. I'm going to try and come underneath him. Oh, he parks it well on the apex. Beautiful defense, but it perhaps compromised him. But now he switches his eyes forward, no doubt, as mine are, fully focused. Is there room for me to go? Oh, I didn't quite get the run to go on the outside there to get the inside in the final corner. And using all the track. Gets the grass a bit. The run's okay. The draft. Oh, I'm not there. Can I get P2? Can I box Ant in? No, he comes out quickly, and it's Johansson, Jones, McKellar, Gardner, Swarovski. What an intense battle that was, eh? Amazing. Great stuff. Now, let's I want to look at a few things in this one. I got P3 as Vasco celebrates P5. Or should I say commiserates P5? All right, so I want to look at where are we at. Let's go back. I might grab Far Chase. I always look at Far Chase. Oh, actually, what I'll do is make it a little, get the camera a bit better. Before we do, I always like about 6 on the Z axis. That's usually how I like it. All right, so this was, what are we doing here? This is lap 9. I just want to talk about the different scenarios here that you can get through the bus stop when things start to get heated. You can see here, there's 4 wide potentially here. There is room for 4 skippies there. And the question you got to ask yourself, if you're the 4th car here, am I going to take the risk? You know, there's 3 cars in front of me. It's lap 9 though. What does Ant do? He backs out. Vasco backs out. Dennis backs out. Kind of. No, Dennis stays in it. But look how late he brakes. Watch that. If you're looking at Dennis, actually we might even go here. Look at how late Dennis brakes relative to me. So you see I'm pulling it up by the time he's still moving forward in relation to me. He's really missed his mark there. And you can see as he's coming in sideways, see how my car just briefly opens out and holds the line on the outside. That was very close. Very close to an incident there. Look how sideways he is. He catches it and on the bump. And then we get through. See, my thing here for myself was I turn in, spotted him, straighten up and open out a bit. Just a fraction was all it took. Because if I open up any more, I'm not going to make the next apex. You can see I'm right on the limit there, right? Any more than that. And not that I'm too worried about the off track, but there's a massive slowdown there. And it's going to push me excessively off. So you always push to the right on the exit of this. But I know because I'm in a pack that if Dennis did manage to keep the momentum behind my outside, I'm going to push out to the right as I bounce off the curb. So I've tried to be very conservative through there and keep as tight as I can so that if I did push out, you know, well, you always do, I don't want to push out into the car outside of me. That was a really key moment, right? Pretty sketchy, right? If we go ahead to the next lap. So this was our last lap. Sorry, that was lap 10. It's lap 11. So my strategy here as we came out was on the green car in front. Obviously we're riding board with Dennis so we can see, because otherwise we're not going to see what happens. So I wanted to be on the right hand side, so I open up the first one a little bit so that I can hug the outside, and I force Dennis. See, normally you'd take the line Dennis is on here rather than what I'm on. But what that does is allow the car behind, which is the red car, and Dennis at this point in time, to come on your right hand side, which gives them the inside line on the main straight. So instead of, you know, going shortening the distance apex to apex by turning left, I just open the wheel enough to let him through. The problem that I had though was that I probably opened up too much. You see there's so much space and it cost me a bit of speed. So I would like to be further alongside there, but I just opened up too much. And then what we've got is side by side with Dennis. I wanted to be a bit further forward. He thought about trying to get me or close the door, but he's kept me very tight. And then here comes Ant, who's had a great run. He's on the outside. Swarovski thinking about it as well. Can we make it 4 wide? I think we did briefly. Yeah. Oh, Ant's got a great run. Look, he's all the way clear now. But you see, as we come in, I am pretty compromised on my entry, but I'm much further up the side. Ant's got a clear run. He can come across as he sees fit, right? But he's still leaving room because he knows he's got 2 cars on the inside. See, as we come in, that is tight. Like, how close is that? Seriously. Everyone gets through, but there is no space to spare. You can see if I hold on any more speed, I'm going to bounce and wash out into Dennis. Yeah, that's crazy stuff. And then what I think happens here is Ant is on a compromised line a little bit. You see, he'd much rather be almost where my car is, right? Ant's the grey car with the yellow wheels in front. Vasco's backed out of this one, probably grinding his teeth at the same time because he wants to be there as well. Ant's on a compromised line there, so he isn't carrying the same speed that Dennis is. And you see, as Dennis bounces there, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, see that? See the correction from Ant's front wheels. See, just here, there's a net code contact, and bang, the rear of Ant's car, the grey one with the yellow wheels, just steps out to the right a bit, just there, and you can see he's having to correct with the front. He has to counter steer briefly, bounces off, and as he's gathering it up, it's put him offline, right? And then he's come sort of caught the car back up, it's come across. And that's where there's more contact, right? So as he comes through in real speed, this is the reaction you got to have. Little contact, whoop, and he's still gathering it, but it's put him offline. And as his car corrects, and it's just a correction, there's that contact there. And what that does, though, is it forces me outside. And who's there ready to pounce? But Swarovski, but who's there ready to pounce as well? It's Neil. Now, this was an interesting one. I wasn't sure... Neil really opened up the corner there. He comes underneath, but he never really made the apex. So he's held his line. As we come back to sort of, yeah, it's just sort of compressed there. There's a bit of net code as well. Swarovski grinding the teeth even more after that one. Now, I know we've been going on with this analysis a bit as I defended from Neil. Held the right-hand side, moved open once. But this moved open once, so I was clear. This final series of corners is absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to focus on the front 3 here, right? Because my strategy coming in here was to take as much of the racing lines as I could and then make my assessment on the exit of the corners as to where I position the car. Because I've still got a chance to move forward here. So what I'm seeing in front of me in the entrance to this corner is Ant's got a compromised line in the yellow wheels. Dennis has got a compromised line on the outside in the red car. Perhaps I can come underneath them, or one of them at least, and make a position if I take the racing line. Now, I could have opened the corner. I should be on the white line on the left, but I'm not. I'm probably a bit too eager to get there. Dennis braked really late. And what that meant was he could come across fully and almost take the apex, take the space away from Ant. It also meant Ant was slow on the apex as a result of his narrow entry and having to compromise because Dennis's car was there. He braked so late and braked so well. It also meant I had nowhere to go. Strike 1. So as we're exiting here, I was very much thinking I'll go up the inside of the next corner. You see Dennis he's got the best drive out of there because of the line that he had, but then Ant covered off. So I thought, all right, well, I'll have to take the racing line here again, see if I can't go underneath him. Again, I could have been further over to the right. Should have been. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I wasn't. Come underneath. Can I get underneath him this time? No, he does an excellent job. Look at the car placement from Ant on the inside there. He should have drifted wider and let me go up the inside, but he didn't. His car control was so damn good. Absolutely defending and attacking at the same time. Beautiful driving from Ant Jones. As we come through the last, my final thought was here. I can either go wide on the exit of the penultimate corner and maybe get the inside of the next one, or Can I come underneath and maybe do the switch back through the final corner? Neither as an option. The car's positioned so well. So now my only option is to try and take the racing line and try and get the run. Look how close we all are, the three of us. Ant got a little bit loose on exit, trying to move through the final corner. We've all got a good run, all got good draft. And then we all hit the line pretty close together. Fantastic. Look, I know I spent a lot of time going through that one, but honestly, the racing and the intricacy of what was there was just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So let's, why don't we take a look quickly at the results after that one. Mr. Hansen did a fantastic job. His first race of the day, had a migraine and everything, but he did a great job there. Driver of the night for me was Ant Jones. I thought his car positioning and his racecraft was excellent. Just not quite rewarded with the win, but very pleased to once again race with him and just really impressed, particularly what you saw in there in that last sector. Myself in third, I think I lost, I don't know, 7 I rating or something for finishing third. That was the nature of the racing for me at the moment. You either kind of win it or lose I rating. Well, it is what it is. And then Neil and Vasco round out the top 5, and that's really where the race was at the end. So look, I hope you enjoyed that one. I certainly did. It was a late night on a Saturday night my time, and well worth the effort in hanging around and having a great race with some good people. So like I said, go check us out, the Top Split on YouTube, where you found this. Obviously it's where all the other Sunday Night Light races are as well. All the history of Sunday Night Lights. But if you do want to check us out for Sunday Night Lights, make sure you go check out Top Split TV on Twitch, 9:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, GMT plus 11 each Sunday night. Or if you'd like more details about the series, go check us out in the Discord community for the Top Split, which is where I keep all that stuff. All the results and everything are all there. But thank you, folks. I really do appreciate you hanging around and watching this one. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that sort of stuff. Throw in a comment. What did you think about the racing here this week? It was bloody brilliant from what I had experience here in this one, which is why I thought I'd share it. And it really does show you what you can do here in the right company, and just how much fun it can be in this great series. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us once again. I'm Alex McKellar, and until next time, ciao for now.